we're all here because we agree there's a challenge in science education. The number of good jobs that grow in the coming decades in computer science and other science careers are going to be filled by some kids, and that other kids may not have the same fair chance at those growing jobs. We're going to talk mostly about one big idea today, which is how do we get scientists and engineers working with kids to make things, and working with kids to do hands-on real-world projects.
And this is where I keep coming back. Teachers need help. Many of them have been in that classroom and that school, and they don't know anything else. You want them to do better, don't beat on them. Bring them under your wing. And I think that's what they want to do.
Scientists and engineers have lots of great ideas, and if they don't have programs like citizen schools that can play the role of a structured program, too often they enter into a school, it's a 1 hour demo, there's not, the scientist feels like, did I make an impact? I don't know, everyone's just looking at me, they walk out. There's, it actually may turn off people.
It's a matter of finding the next group of people who are a little reluctant to step out of their comfort zone and get involved personally. And what will make that happen in part is creating that community.
This is a community issue. It's not just about, from a very parochial standpoint, ensuring that we have the appropriately trained employees for the innovation economy that we are becoming, and some would argue that in Massachusetts we're well down that track already. But it's also about having communities that have, I believe, greater capacity for math, science, engineering, and quantitative skills.
Large employers paired with universities, paired with successful nonprofits, can really bring together a collective in certain states that starts to mean that we don't reproduce the conversation every time, where a new employer says, hey, I want to do something on STEM, I want to do something with my volunteers. They don't realize that there are other employers in the state that have gone through an iterative cycle of figuring out what works and what doesn't. They immediately can plug in, and so they're starting much farther along in the process.
Why isn't this happening at scale? I think a lot it's because as we think about school reform and think about education reform, too often the debate is stuck in a box. And we think about sort of incremental tinkering at the edges of our current school system instead of radical surgery, radical reform, rethinking of the way we think about learning. Public school system, like other large systems in industry, is incredibly resistant to change. I think some of that is starting to change because of this administration's push around the I3 fund, the race to the top, and just the urgency of the problem. But it is still a fact of life. And one of the reasons Citizen Schools is so excited about the expanded learning time space and moving schools from a 6-hour day to a 9-hour day is if you have that new platform of a 9-hour day, there is, we think, a much better chance that a set of innovative ideas, like using these great citizen teachers, can take hold, get momentum, be experimented with, be improved upon.
Citizen Schools has been having incredible success. It's a 15-year effort that has really provided a lot of impact, and I know they're poised to be in a really ambitious growth cycle. Part of what makes Citizen Schools work is that it's really done an amazing job of bringing together the public community, bringing together a whole bunch of other nonprofits, having close relationships with boards of education, the governors in the states they want to work in, and they want to expand. So we think these kind of collaborations that really take a successful intervention and think about scaling it are quite exciting.